Like to call the meeting to order. Like to ask Chief Polino to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you, Chief Polino. 1.3, approval of agenda.
I'll move.
So moved and second. Are there any changes? Seeing none, vote please. Ms. Scott?
Aye.
The motion passed. Section 2, special presentation recognition. 2.1, linked learning goal pathway recognition. The Board of Education wishes to recognize Curtis Middle School's STEM pathways for earning this prestigious designation as a linked learning goal pathways.
Good evening. My name is Mary Roan Goodwin, and I am the Director of Communications and Community Relations. For tonight's special presentations, the Board of Education will recognize Curtis Middle School and SBCUSD's team of dedicated school nurses. Before I introduce our award recipients, I'd like to invite our board members and Superintendent Ariano to make their way to the front of the dais at this time. Executive Cabinet, would you please make your way along the ramp? As our team takes their places, I'd like to share that tonight's honorees are being recognized as part of the Board of Education's desire to spotlight SBCUSD at our very best. With that in mind, let us begin by highlighting Curtis Middle School, which was awarded gold certification status by Linked Learning on April 9th for its innovative STEM pathway. This is a testament to the dedication, hard work, and commitment to excellence demonstrated by Principal Mr. Guillermo Guerrero. Thank you. Vice Principal Sarah Gapp and Denisha Culverson, and STEM teacher, STEAM program specialist Chris Petracione, in providing supportive and inclusive learning environments for all students. I now invite Principal Guerrero to come forward to receive a special certificate for Curtis Middle School. Dr. Alan Kay, if you'd like to join them for a photo, you may. Curtis is the very first SBCUSD middle school and only the second middle school in the entire state of California to earn this designation, and serves as a model for career-connected learning, industry partner engagement, and hands-on integrated projects for middle school students. Congratulations, Principal Guerrero, and to all of the students and staff at Curtis Middle School for shining so bright and serving as a model of educational excellence. Let's recognize Curtis Middle School and their gold certified team with another round of applause. The Board of Education would like to take the opportunity to recognize the district's team of highly skilled and dedicated nurses that serve our students with the highest level of care, compassion, and professionalism. Honorees, when your name is called, would you please come forward by walking down the ramp to my left where you see my team member with their hand raised. You'll be greeted by Superintendent Mr. Mauricio Arellano, the Board of Education, and your principal once you arrive to the front of the dais. Please pause at the gold plate cover at the center of the floor to have your photo taken before using the walkway to my right to return to your seat. Audience, please put your hands together as we welcome our first honoree, Chelsea Bartlett. Our next honoree is Brandy Bennett. Okay. Tia Brooks. Our next honoree is Tia Brooks. Next honoree is Christina Brower. Our next honoree is Sylvia Coleman. Please help me welcome Tammy DeBellis. Audience, please welcome Pasha Dorso. Next, we have Andrina Gallardo. Help me welcome Maria Garcia. Congratulations to Chandra Henson. Our next honoree is Wendy Huang. Got Wendy's shoes. Make sure you get those shoes, Karina. Our next honoree is Sandra Kaiser. Congratulations to Nicole Lang. Audience, please help me welcome Sharon Lip. Congratulations to Lynn Massey. Please help me welcome Rodrigo Morales. Welcome to Blanca Moreno. Please help me welcome Stella Norris. Audience, please help me by welcoming Kanako Watanabe.
Some years ago, when we had budget cuts throughout the state, um, we had a list of items to cut, and a lot of districts were cutting nurses. And our board chose not to cut nurses because we knew the value of having nurses in our district. And since then, we've added to the nursing population, which is not the norm for districts across the state. But we realized it was a priority and made sure that we funded nurses. And it turned out to be one of the best things we ever did. You know, I don't get a lot of calls from parents, but calls that I do get are parents that are concerned about the wellness of their kids, and their kids have specific medical problems that need to be addressed by nurses. It is a good feeling for me to be able to make a phone call and say what school actually has a nurse on site, because that's what parents are concerned about, because you truly are saving lives. A lot of times it's a situation of life and death, and even beyond that, just giving a parent a peace of mind is a big deal. So I just want to personally say on behalf of the whole board, really truly do appreciate all of you. Thank you very much. .3 District English Learner Advisory Committee.
Thank you, Board. At this time, we would like to present our DLAC President, Ms. Rodolfina Gamino, to give the presentation from the DLAC Board. Thank you, Ms. Gamino. You do have the report in front of you in English and Spanish.
Hola, buenas tardes, ¿cómo están todos? Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Rodolfina Gamino, soy la actual y próximamente la saliente presidenta del comité DILAC, aquí presente.
Hello, good afternoon. I am Rodolfina, and I am the acting chair of ELAC here with you today, this evening.
Muy pronto saliente presidente. Aquí está detrás mi equipo.
And outgoing president pretty soon. So right behind me, you see my team.
Yo sé que es un poquito tarde, pero es mi primer reporte. Esperemos que todo salga bien.
I know it's a little bit late. It's my first report, but let's hope everything comes out well.
Ya que entramos apenas soy una de las que entró después de una pandemia y quiero mostrar lo que soy yo.
Well, being that I just was assigned right after a pandemic, so I also want to show what I am capable of.
Hoy quiero hablar sobre los logros del comité DILAC.
Today I want to talk about all of the achievements for ELAC.
Apoyo del superintendente Arellano a la mesa directiva.
The support of the superintendent Arellano to our executive board.
En reunión DILAC híbridas después de COVID.
Our hybrid meetings of ELAC after COVID.
Asistencia a los miembros DILAC en las conferencias CABE, La Cosecha, CABE Anaheim, CABE Riverside.
The assistance for members of DLAC in the conferences for CABE, La Cosecha, CABE Anaheim, and CABE Riverside.
DILAC compartió mucha información para nuestros padres y a la comunidad.
DLAC shared a lot of information for our parents and for the community.
Éxito con el apoyo a los padres a través del comité DILAC.
Success for the parents and support through the ELAC committee.
Aumento de reclasificación que cumplieron con los requisitos del Estado.
Being able to have increases in reclassification which met the requirements of the state.
Reconocimiento a los estudiantes bilingües.
And recognizing our bilingual students.
Capacitación a maestros y directores.
Trainings for teachers and principals.
Apoyo para los programas duales.
And support for our dual immersion programs.
Involucramiento de nuevos padres.
And involvement of new parents.
Oportunidades de trabajo para alumnos universitarios.
Opportunities of work for our university students.
Gracias para eso, porque es muy importante.
Thank you for that. It's really important.
Ahora quiero dar algunas sugerencias a la mesa directiva.
And now I would like to give some suggestions to our executive board.
Tener más programas, celebraciones y reconocimientos para todos los aprendices de inglés.
To have more programs, celebrations, recognitions for all of our English learning programs.
Sobre todo de todas las etnicidades.
And overall, all ethnicities.
Continuar apoyando a los programas duales.
Continue to support our dual programs, our dual immersion programs.
Continuar con el apoyo a los padres aprendices de inglés a conferencias CABE.
To be able to support the parents that are English learners for the CAVIC conferences,
Para que tengan mayor conocimiento de lo que es la educación bilingüe.
so that they are more aware and conscious of the bilingual education.
Continuar el nivel de comunicación regular
To continue our regular communication levels
con el nuevo comité DILAC
with our new committee, our DLAC committee,
y con el superintendente.
and with the superintendent.
Seguir trabajando arduamente con los directores de programas multilingües
To continue working tirelessly with our directors of the programs, the multilingual programs,
el señor Ojeda y el señor Acosta aquí presentes.
with Mr. Ojeda and Mr. Acosta, who are here.
Apoyo para mejor servicio a los padres en las escuelas.
To support for better services for parents in the schools.
Continuar apoyando en los eventos de reclasificación.
Continuing to support these events for reclassification.
Seguimiento de las reuniones del comité DILAC con la mesa directiva.
Follow up with our DLAC meetings with the executive board.
Continuación de visitas de la mesa directiva y visitar programas duales.
To continue visiting our executive board and also our dual immersion programs.
Bueno, escuelas con programas duales.
Well, the schools with our dual immersion programs.
Entrenamiento a los padres de ILAC y DILAC.
Trainings for the parents of ELAC and DLAC.
Promover más la importancia del involucramiento familiar.
To be able to promote more of that importance for that involvement, parent and family involvement.
Tener la presencia de la mesa directiva en las reuniones DILAC.
To have our executive board present in our DLAC meetings.
Todos están invitados a participar con nosotros.
Everyone is invited to participate with us.
Yo sé que han estado algunos presentes y otros su tiempo no se los permite, pero los queremos ver ahí.
I know that some have been present, others, your time doesn't permit, but we do want to see you there.
Y darle seguimiento a las visitas a las escuelas, que es muy importante para nosotros los padres.
And to continue following up with those school visits because it is extremely important for us, the parents.
Y quiero mayor apoyo para los padres en los idiomas para que ellos se involucren mejor en las escuelas.
And I would like some deep support for the parents in their languages so they can get involved in the schools,
Para el apoyo de todos sus estudiantes.
for the support of all of your students.
Y no me queda más que darle las gracias.
And I have nothing left to say, but thank you.
Y quiero seguir trabajando con ustedes porque yo no me voy.
And I want to continue working with you all because I'm not leaving anywhere.
Aquí me van a ver sentados mes tras mes.
You'll see me sitting here month after month,
Y me van a tener más detrás de ustedes.
and I'll be chasing you.
Y eso es todo. Y recuerden que juntos hacemos la unidad.
And that's it. And remember, united, we are the strength.
Si una pieza falta en el rompecabezas, no estamos completos.
If one piece is missing in our puzzle, then we're not complete.
Es todo. Gracias.
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Ms. Medina.
Sí, nomás quería decirles muchas gracias. Just wanted to say thank you so much por su dedicación a nuestros estudiantes. La verdad es necesario. So, muchas gracias por venir. I wanted to say thank you so much for your support, and coming down and really speaking on the issues is really important. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Ceballos.
Yo también quería darles las gracias. I wanted to also thank you. Yo sé que el tiempo que ustedes pasan en estas juntas, en cosas del distrito, no son pagadas, ¿verdad? Y requiere mucho tiempo y requiere mucho compromiso y no cualquier persona lo puede hacer. So I know that, you know, your involvement and your participation in different district events and things like that, it's not a paid position, and it requires a lot of commitment And so I just want to say thank you. Truly, I wish I could have been there more often. But I'm a little new in my career, so that took a lot of time out of my day. Pero muchísimas gracias, de verdad. Y qué bueno que nos va a seguir acompañando. Thank you.
Mrs. Alexander.
So first, I'll apologize. I will not be able to speak in Spanish, but I wanted to say thank you for taking on such a challenging task during COVID to keep DLAC going and coming in and sharing with us your accomplishments and working with the community and the parents and always keeping the kids first. So we appreciate that, keeping focus on the scholars. And then in terms of just what you're asking of the school board, in terms of call to action, we received that. So thank you.
Mr. Husky.
Thank you. I also will not be able to address you in Spanish, which is to my great sadness, because I should have been bilingual, but that's a whole nother story. I just want to say thank you for all your work. I've been to several DLAC meetings, and I appreciate the times that I've been able to attend. You run a wonderful meeting. There's always good parent participation, which I appreciate. Being able to see our parental involvement, I think that's a testament to the work that DLAC does. And that commitment. I also hear what you're saying. There's several things on there that I made notes about that I really want to see. I attended CABE for years as a teacher and a teacher leader, and I know the importance and the value of that conference and the education that our parents get. And I like the idea especially of expanding who attends to have more understanding of the benefit for particularly dual immersion for all of our students. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Grande.
Este año voy a ser prometo que voy a hacer la lucha a visitarlos.
I haven't attended a meeting in a long time, but I will attend your next meeting. I welcome your invitation. I do think it's important for board members to show up, so I will be there. Okay? Mr. Ariano.
Thank you, President Tillman. First, I'll say in English, then in Spanish. First of all, I want to give Ms. Camino a huge thank you. She has done a great job, an elegant job, a classy job being the president of DLAC, and we all appreciate your leadership. And if you don't know, she's also very funny. So she makes the meetings very funny, very light when needed, so I do appreciate her. And just in Spanish, señora Camilo, le quiero dar las gracias porque usted ha hecho buen trabajo este año y le agradecemos todo el esfuerzo. Y tú lo haces porque tienes corazón para nuestros niños y para nuestra comunidad. Entonces, muchas gracias. And Mr. Ojeda, Mr. Acosta, I was wondering if maybe one of you could introduce who else is here with us. And I know we have our future president as well, so maybe it'd be nice to end it by introducing our other members. Thank you.
Sure. We've got with us our vice president for this last year, and this is Roxana Cervantes. Would you stand up? And then we have our parliamentarian, who's also our new president as well.
Muy buenas tardes, mi nombre es Elizabeth Romero y pues soy la futura presidenta de DLAC. Entonces estoy aquí muy agradecida y también comprometida para seguir trabajando con ustedes. Y como dijo mi compañera, ustedes son parte del rompecabezas y me gustaría también seguirlos invitando.
Good afternoon. My name is Elizabeth Romero. I am the future president of DLAC here. And as my colleague said, you are part of that puzzle piece. So we are going to be here working collectively and asking for your support.
Y como siempre, la voz de los padres son para mí muy importantes porque yo sé que ellos me eligieron a mí, confían en mí y les agradezco y es por eso de que estoy aquí luchando con ellos.
And as I always say it, our parents' voices are extremely important because they elected me, they trusted me, and I am here to represent and be their voice.
Pues también ustedes, gracias por todo su trabajo que han hecho y por estar con nosotros, porque yo sé que sí nos escuchan.
And also to all of you, thank you for all of the work and for being here with us, because I do know that you listen.
Muchas gracias y que Dios los bendiga y nos veremos pronto otra vez.
Thank you. God bless, and we will see you soon once again. Thank you.
2.4, resolution in recognition of Juneteenth Day. I'd like to ask Mrs. Alexander to read that for us.
President Tillman. Whereas Juneteenth is the oldest African American holiday observance in the United States, and whereas September 22nd, 1862, President Lincoln issued the celebrated Emancipation Proclamation, and whereas prior to the end of Civil War on January 31st, 1865, Congress passed the 13th Amendment to the United States Constitution, which abolished slavery throughout the United States and its territories, and whereas June 19, 1865 is considered the date that the last slave in America was freed, almost 2.5 years after President Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation, and whereas on June 17, 2021, President Biden signed into the law bill making Juneteenth National Independence Day a federal holiday, and whereas in 2023, Governor Newsom officially recognized Juneteenth as a state holiday and the third Saturday in June of each year to be known as Juneteenth National Freedom Day, a day of observance. Therefore, be it resolved, the Board of Education of the San Bernardino City Unified School District hereby recognizes June 19th as Juneteenth National Independence Day, and be it further resolved, the Board of Education recognizes the third Saturday in June of each year in California as Juneteenth National Freedom Day, a day of observance that urges people across the state and nation to join celebrating Juneteenth as a day to honor and reflect on the significant role that African Americans have played in history of the United States and how they have enriched society through their steadfast commitment to promoting freedom, brotherhood, unity, and equality. So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mrs. Alexander and second by Ms. Ceballos. Vote, please.
I do want to note, can we start using enslaved versus the word slave in these resolutions as well?
Noted, and thank you. Ms. Scott?
Aye. President Tillman.
Motion passed. Section 5, closed session. No, it should be, sorry about that. I apologize. Section 3, public comments. 3.1, receive public comments. This is the only time the public will have an opportunity to address the board on items not on the agenda and within their subject matter jurisdiction, such as district policies, procedures, program services, or fiscal matters. Public comments are limited to 5 minutes per person. 6 or more people who wish to speak on one topic will be provided no more than 30 minutes total. Speakers are cautioned that under California law, no person is immune from liability for making intentionally false or defamatory comments regarding any person simply because these comments are made at a public meeting. And our first public comment is Mr. Terry Boykins.
Thank you, President Tillman. I appreciate it. My name is Terry Boykins, Executive Director of Project Fighting Chance. I just want to say thank you all for the support you've given us this past year. It's been without a question a phenomenal experience watching the city of San Bernardino produce a Heisman Trophy winner and an international gold medalist in boxing, which has been an incredible journey, having come through phenomenal training during COVID and having a dream to reach the Olympics, but option to go pro, which is another opportunity. And so Superintendent Ariana, I want to say thank you, and Dr. Rodriguez for attending Terry's victory celebration. He enjoyed it, being able to see his educators come back and see him, and surprising him knowing his favorite teacher was really kind of exciting. But you know, with the celebrations being gone, the individuals that are now young adults on their way, Project Finding Chance gets back to work with all the other scholars that are looking to do things and deal with things in their respective pursuit of education as well as their own family life. And Project Fighting Chance wants to continue serving this community. And I know that Ms. Goodwin has some promo cards that we've had that is circulating throughout the city. We can now get back to working on what we believe we understand a little bit, and that's working with kids that have been impacted by trauma. And so boxing is what we do, community is who we are. That's what we're going to do come the 10th of June. Project Fighting Chance goes back to work. It's been nice creating Golden Glove champions and international boxing champions. But if you go to Reuben Campos today and you notice that we've added something on that building and we work with Parks and Rec as well as the Campos family, when you pull up to Reuben Campos Community Center, you will see from 4th Street big words that says, "I am a champion." And that is what we want to make sure that each of those young people that come into that building, come into that property, they understand that yes, we do have international celebrities and athletes in there, but the reality of it is we want them to know that they are a champion without a question. And the affirmations are all over the building, and we want to make sure we do that. And this is the reason why when the team was presenting the information about having a boxing camp, I wanted to make sure that not only were we focusing on the athletic prowess of some of these individuals, but we were dealing with some of the adverse childhood experiences that are encountered with these individuals. And as you'll notice that on the boxing camp flyer, it has for champions, for individuals that are the athletes, but we also are going to make sure that our coaches are able to work with youth and train them in how to deal with some of their coping needs, their mental health issues. And so that is something, even tonight, I think there's like 60 parents on the call tonight. I'll be going to tonight on the Zoom call, getting ready. But this camp is not just for champions, but it's for trauma as well. And we will be talking about what we need to do to be more accountable. And then also with that, we're going to move right from the boxing camp into another program, which is called Chill the Violence. And you'll get a chance to know a little bit more about that. And what Project Fighting Chance is going to do to address some of the issues that are confronting juveniles with regards to influence of violence on the streets. And we do have a proactive approach with regards to our organization to engage youth. We think we have a vehicle that will basically appeal to them. And we're going to use some of that influence to have conversations and get them the resources and the help and the intervention that's needed so they do make it back to the next school year. Because if they do not make it past the summer, as you know, outside of after school, that's one of the most vulnerable times, is that gap in between being out of school and coming back to school. And we want to make sure that we're being responsible as an organization to participate in their successful return to school and on their way to graduation. The other part we're going to do, and I'll leave with this, is that in July, we know that a number of parents contact us wanting to know what do they do with their kids for July. If the summer school's out, Project Fighting Chance has their enrichment program. We will be available to this community from 8:30 in the morning to 6 o'clock in the evening to make sure that youth are able to involve in physical activity and fitness programs, enrichment programs. And I just confirmed yesterday that we will have meals to provide 3 times a day to every child that walks into that building. And so I just want to say with that, that's our agenda for the summer. We look forward to it. It'll be a busy summer. And our objective is to help these kids and scholars get back to school in August and ready to learn. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Boykins, and thank you for the work that you are doing in our community. Me and Mr. Boykins go way back. We went to Cal State San Bernardino together. He was a member of Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity, and I'm Phi Beta Sigma fraternity, and I actually went to school with his wife at Roosevelt and Arrowview and San Bernardino High School. And it's just amazing that you're doing this program. You know, Ian Franklin, who's in your program also, he and I met at a summer program. It was called CETA. We were both about 14 years old, and we worked together in that summer program and kept a relationship throughout the years. And I know he's been working diligently for over 30 or 40 years in the community, helping our youth. So I can't thank you guys enough.
Well, you know, I want to say thank you, Danny. And, you know, it's been great, you know, being a co-ed and having the collegiate experience and growing and seeing and the, you know, the staying put in the community has been really, you know, a humbling thing for me to experience. And so I'm looking forward to working with you and your board and the scholars and the parents that we get involved with to do more, because I do know that if we can let these young people know that we believe in them, I think they will believe enough in this city to want to stay and make a difference. And so that's what we're going to be going to work on. And so I'm going to get on this parent call tonight because they've been calling me all day. So I'm going to get a chance to get to the Zoom and want to say thank you all once again.
You know, the best thing on your flyer says $35 early registration, May 1st
I know what part you're going
May
to read.
31st, 2024. But there's an asterisk that says does not apply to San Bernardino CD5 school district students.
That is correct.
And that's because of the partnership we have. They're able to participate without having to pay the fee, and that's a big deal.
That's exactly right with expanded learning. And I want to give a shout out to Ann Pearson, her team, and Tiffany and Sean and Laura and Tina, which we have a chance to make sure that we don't put anything out unless they approve of it. And so that's the partnership. And I think that's the partnerships that we want to make sure this community understands, that of all the things that you hear about San Bernardino, there are some very good things that are going on. There's some very good kids in this community. And I guarantee you that if we take care of them and treat them right, they will be back to treat this city right.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Next, we have Miss Amy, I believe it's Aguirre. Is that right?
Hi, good evening. My name is Dr. Amy Florence Aguirre. I am a graduate of San Bernardino City Unified School District. I attended from kindergarten at Urbita to Richardson Prep High for middle school and graduated from Cajon all the way back in 2007. I earned the recognition of valedictorian, and I owe that all to the incredible teachers and mentors that have been by my side throughout the years at this school district. And I am very grateful for all the hard work that we do collaboratively as a team to make that happen. I was able to attend UC Riverside. I earned a Bachelor's of Science in Biochemistry. I then attended Loma Linda University School of Pharmacy. I graduated with my Doctorate of Pharmacy in 2015. I was more than happy to come back and serve my community as a teacher, right now as a CTE teacher at Curtis Middle School. I am very happy to see that our school was honored this evening with gold certification from Linked Learning, which is a just testament to all of the incredible work that we do as a team at our school site. I teach a medical pathway program, CTE program at Curtis Middle School. And as we're recognizing the nurses up here in our school district, I can only think about our kids, the kids that walk into my classroom every single day to learn about the medical field. I have the incredible opportunity and honor to guide these students to pursue a medical field related career and encourage them and push them to exceed academically. That will open up those doors for them to pursue those types of careers. So at my site, I am a demonstration teacher. I also have the opportunity to mentor other teachers. So I am trying my best to make sure that I am leaving a lasting impact not only on my students, but on my colleagues and other teachers as well. I am incredibly thankful for this board. This school board has allowed me to teach that class for the last 3 years. In 2019, my school was honored with the Innovation Grant, which totally remodeled that classroom in 2019. As we know, COVID kind of put a little halt on the construction to that. It was finished in 2021. So this is the 3rd year I've had the opportunity to use that classroom, and I thank you guys for funding it. It was a $50,000 grant to make that happen. It's a beautiful classroom. So my concern is that I would like the program to continue. So I would just have the board consider to continue with the Medical Pathways program. As you can see, we just got gold certified for STEM, and it just would be a loss to the students and the community to lose this type of program. All of my students are able to leave my class completely certified in CPR and first aid, and they will save lives and have saved lives. So I would just ask the board to reconsider and make sure that we continue with these types of impactful, important, essential programs for our students in our community.
Did you hear that we were going to discontinue the program?
As far as I know, the program will not continue for next school year.
We'll look into it. Thanks for coming out. Really appreciate it. You said you have your PhD?
I have a doctorate of pharmacy.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, you didn't write that on your name, so
Oh.
So you're Dr. Aguirre?
Dr. Aguirre, yes.
Yeah, okay. Well, thank you very much. We'll look into it, because if it's a program that has participation, has been successful, I'm sure the board wants to see it continue. So we'll look into that, okay?
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Ms. Doris Antiveros?
This button? Okay. All right. So good evening, everyone. My name is Doris Ontiveros, and I'm the chair of the Pharmacy Technology Program at San Bernardino Valley College. And just to piggyback on the speakers before me, you know, our program is an entry-level training program for pharmacy technicians, and within the last few years, our program has been present in different high schools within your school district. So, you know, there is a great importance in medical pathways due to our labor workforce shortage. So I don't get off track, I just wanted to express my heartfelt gratitude for the continued partnership between our college and your district. We're honored to have our program hosted at San Gorgonio, Cajon, and Pacific High Schools. It brings us an immense joy to see successful completion of our program by now 2 of your students. They graduated, we had 1 student graduate a couple years ago with their pharmacy technician certificate, and we had a student this past spring also graduate with their pharmacy technician certificate, and now they've transferred to our school to continue their associate's degree. And we have more to finish their certificate program by the end of this new school year. So these students, one of the courses that they're required to take is a clinical experience course, where we place them in a pharmacy, and they gain pharmacy workplace experience by working alongside pharmacy technicians and pharmacists for up to 240 hours. They both impressed our preceptors beyond measure, and they didn't believe me when I told them they were high school students. So they exhibited a lot of professionalism and maturity for being high school seniors. So a little bit about our program. We're accredited by the American Society of Health System Pharmacists, and we rank higher than the national average in our national certification exam. I credit that to our amazing instructors who are working pharmacy technicians and pharmacists. They all believe knowledge is invaluable when teaching students about real-world scenarios and practical applications for their future pharmacy careers or any healthcare-related field that they choose to go in. In that way, we feel we are successful in training future pharmacy technicians to meet those local pharmacy technician shortages. So one thing that I wanted to mention that is particularly, I'm very proud of, is witnessing student interest in the pre-pharmacist pathway at our college. We're thrilled about the educational pathways we offer, from our associate's degree in pharmacy tech to the PharmD pathway in collaboration with Loma Linda University School of Pharmacy. So this educational journey has sparked a sense of motivation and empowerment within our students, especially within the Hispanic community, making higher education more attainable and enriching lives with transformative opportunities. In addition, we're also partnering with Loma Linda University School of Pharmacy to host a National Pharmacy Technology Day. So this October historically is Pharmacy Month, and we're inviting several different high schools to come onto our campus to participate in this Pharmacy Technology Day. And if any of you are available on October 15, I'd like to extend a warm welcome to you. It's more geared towards a STEM care or STEM fair for our students, kind of letting them know about different career paths that are available to them. So in closing, I just wanted to thank you for your unwavering support in nurturing these educational pathways that are shaping the future of our students.
Thank you very much. Can I ask you a question? You
Sure.
may not have the answer, but how do we advertise and recruit students to get into the program? Do you know?
So we go into the high schools, and usually it's during like career fair days or reaching out to students within different classrooms. Maybe it's like a medical pathway classroom or a class that's already, kind of those CTE type of classrooms. And we present the information about our program, and we work with our CTE specialty instructors that are the designated representatives at each of the school, and we promote our program in that way. So the unique thing about our program, Pharmacy Tech, versus any other pharmacy tech programs is that we're not kind of like a formal program where you have to apply to. The students are registered through dual enrollment, so they're earning college credits as they're taking our courses. So by taking this pharmacy tech certificate, it actually gets them a third of the way done with their associate's career or associates of science degree, and then that they can apply the prerequisites for pharmacy school. So it's possible to do an associate's degree to PharmD pathway, which is one of the first in our areas.
Thank you. And it's not agendized, so I'm not going to elaborate, but we have the budget presentation, and I think during that presentation we can discuss ways that we can ensure that we have enough students in these programs that will give us the funding to continue. Because you guys have invested so much time and effort, there's no way we're going to take a chance on losing this. So we'll find a solution, but we can't talk about it here. We'll talk about it when we get to the budget. Next up to speak is Ms. Medina.
Yeah, no,
Got a
thank you
question?
definitely. Thank you so much for speaking. So I do, maybe as a clarification, and this can also go back to the school district, just really knowing what the entry level of students who graduate from these programs, what is their pay as they're entering into these programs and, in the career pathway once they graduate or get the certificate. So I know that our district is moving into maybe providing some information. That would be good for me to know.
I know with the new laws that came out for like the fast food workers, so entry level usually meant that when a technician was hired on, entry level may start $18, $19 per hour in a retail setting. In a hospital setting, it might be a little bit higher because they're required to take a national certification exam. But with the new laws that have passed, there's also been additional laws. Forgive me because I don't know the exact name, but it's like SB 285 or SB 295, something around there, where because the new pay rate has affected food, fast food workers, it is also affecting healthcare workers, where if they're below that minimum wage, they will also be raising the wage to meet that new requirement or go above. But it's something that's done over a period of time, I think between now and 3 years.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you. Next is Mr. Omar Castro.
Good evening, board members. My name is Omar Castro, long-term resident in the area. I'm actually a proud alumni of San Bernardino Valley College. Just wanted to start off that way. And I work very closely with Ms. Ontiveros. And I've been working at Valley College for 10 years now. And 2 years, I was actually invited to work in the program, more in the division area. It's called the Health Life Science, but more to support the pharmacy technology program. And the reason for that is I've actually been charged by the district level to actually do special studies in our area, which basically the range is between Fontana, Rialto, Colton, San Bernardino, Redlands, and Yucaipa to really find the need. And so when I was invited to be a part of the team, I didn't even hesitate. I said, you know, when can I start? So I started two summers ago, and I saw some areas where I felt like there was a need. So we have been at Pacific High School, where the program is in place for dual enrollment. And I wanted to send a shout out to Ms. Lindsay. She's such a firecracker out at that campus. Just her numbers alone, I'm sure you guys know, but through dual enrollment through San Bernardino Valley College, there's recorded about 1,200 students this semester. A minimum of 50% of the students came from that school. And so we're very proud to work with them. But one of the areas that I found the need was to really expand and open up to opportunities within your district. And so I've been working very closely with Mr. Mormon at San Gregorio High School. We went live this fiscal year. And just to share with you, we're very mindful as to how many courses we can actually have at a high school. We've never had more than 2 going live in the first semester. And because of the need, not just there, but also the support from also the families, we went live with 2 schools. So normally in a course, we have about 30 to 36 students, and we had nearly about 75. This fiscal year, we had about 120. We found that there's also a need on the other side of the district. And so we also are live at Cajon High School. Cajon High School this fiscal year recorded about 150 students. So ultimately this fiscal year, we recorded over 300 students from your district. And that's why we're here more than anything, because we wanted to really thank the board, you guys, for your support very strongly, for your advocacy, but also the members at each respective school, starting from the front, from the principal to all the career specialists, because we really can't do it without them. But just to share with you, through our budget, we have an instructor through our team, and he or she is paid to teach at that respective high school. And the course is live there once a week. It's after school. It's technically about 2.5 hours or so. And each course is always filled. There's like not even enough room in there. And like Ms. Ontiveros was sharing, we highlighted a student not so long ago that graduated in the program, but we're looking at the numbers now. We're actually looking at between 25 to 28 students that are currently still in high school. They will continue, and they'll be recognized mid-May of next year. And so that's a huge jump. So we're really happy about that. Like Ms. Ontiveros was sharing, our graduation rate is much larger, but just at your respective district, from all of the students that registered and completed a course, the retention is 98%. And so we really look at nutrition. It's extremely important. From nearly our 200 programs that we have our respective college, we're the only program, not just there, but within our region, being Region 9. And I pay attention to the other junior colleges throughout within our state, being that there's 10 regions in our state. We're the only college that really focus on retention, because so I go out there and I speak to the students. I help them with the whole process from A through Z. So when they're looking at someone through the support of admissions, I'm your person. If they need someone for tutoring, I am your person. I respond within 24 hours. I can prove that to you. But that's the support that they're looking for. And so that's what they can expect. And so when I'm looking out moving forward, my vision to continuously working with your district is visioning not what's coming forth the next fiscal year, but more 2 years. We know that time goes quickly. But we're really looking at hopefully getting your support with increasing more benefits at Sagragona High School as we're looking at a 5-year strategic plan. And so thank you for your support again. And I look forward to seeing you guys hopefully October 15th.
Thank you. And you know better than I do, that retention number is amazing. Because even at Valley College itself, the retention number is nowhere near that. So you're doing a great job, and we appreciate it. And our whole goal is to make our students as successful as possible. And I personally want our kids to outcompete every other district. So whatever we have to do to continue the success you're having, we're going to do that.
Thank you for that. And I wanted to share with you, so I got my bachelor's degree over 10 years ago, and I believe very strongly in the program. I didn't want to sound like a salesperson. We're not in the private sector and things like that. I wanted to make sure that I knew what I was talking about, to our respective students. So I actually took the leap about 3 semesters ago, and I took the program myself. Passed the program because I thought it was only fair for them. And we're now seeing some of your students that are encouraging their parents. So we're now seeing residents in our area taking the program with them. So again, we wanted to thank you for your support. For Miss Mary Ellen, also for being visible on our campus. I know that you're one of our alumni. Mr. Mauricio Arellano, I saw you there a couple months ago. Ms. Myra Ceballos for being in our pinning ceremony. And I'm looking out for you guys for an invitation. I can see some of you guys possibly being a keynote speaker and guest speakers at our next pinning ceremony. It's a really highlight to know that we anticipate over 25 students next year from your district that are going to graduate. So thank you for your support.
I'm also an alumni, but before they had computers, 1983. So they don't have any records of me.
Yeah, I remember meeting you for the first time at our Veterans Resource Center, and thank you for everything that you do in our community.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Dr. Scott Wyatt as well. I've seen you there too as well. Yeah, thank you.
Next, we have Dr. Davis.
Am I good? Okay, good. Good evening. First of all, I want to thank you for the 30 minutes you're about to give me to talk right now. 35, thank you. My name is Willie Davis. I am the Associate Dean for Student Services at the Loma Linda University School of Pharmacy. And I want to tell you something here. We have been around for 22 years at our school, and we have been partners with this school district for the entire 22 years of this school. And you have been our partners. We have, it's part of our DNA for us to be involved in the school system. And I'm going to bring things full circle. Dr. Aguirre was my student. She is a product of the San Bernardino City Unified School District and has gone back to give back to the school district. And that is really a microcosm of what we've tried to do with our school. We have been involved in the school district since day one. The work we've done with Curtis Middle School. Back in 2012, Dr. K and I just saw each other for the first time in a while. In 2012, my laboratory at the school, I'm a biochemist, my laboratory started teaching laboratory principles at Indian Springs High School to students, and we did that for a number of years. Today, we are still involved with the school district. It is important to us. 2 years ago, our school became the first school of pharmacy in the United States designated as a Hispanic Center of Excellence in Pharmacy. We received a $3.5 million grant from HRSA. The goal of that grant is to improve healthcare in this region. And I'll give you some numbers of what we're trying to do. This region is well over 50% Hispanic and Latino. About 8% of the healthcare providers in this region fall into that demographic. Our school received this grant because we have been doing a good job of training pharmacists like Dr. Aguirre, and we've only graduated 13%. Since the grant has started, we are now up to 37%. Our last entering class was 37% Hispanic. Most of those students came from this area. We are focused on improving healthcare in this area by providing pharmacists who can go out and serve an area that needs to be served and make a difference in healthcare. We cannot do that job without our partnerships with you. We are thankful for our partnership with San Bernardino Valley College. We don't teach, they teach 3 classes in our building with their students who become our students. So what we have done, we realize that if you keep looking in the same places for students that aren't there, you won't find them. So what we realized is we have to look for students where they are. And students from our district tend to go to community colleges. And what we realized is you can do the prerequisites from pharmacy school without getting a bachelor's degree and move right into Loma Linda and be successful. This year, we will have one of our first graduates from San Bernardino Valley College in our program. We want to continue this partnership. It is important to us, it is important to this region, and we are committed to doing whatever we can to make this go. The people at San Bernardino Valley College are amazing, amazing colleagues of ours. We are looking forward to what we can do together. Please, in October, come and join us during Pharmacy Month. It's going to be a show. It's going to be wonderful. What we want to see is our first student from the high schools to enroll in our school after about 2 years after they finish high school. That's what we want to see. That's our vision. We're going to improve healthcare in this community one student at a time, and it's because of our partnership with you. Thank you for this invitation. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, and you can count on us. We'll be working with you, and it's a win-win for both of us.
Yes.
Like you said, our students benefit from it, but the community also.
Yes.
And so we'll make it happen. You have some comments from fellow board members? Ms. Ceballos?
Yeah, so I mean, just in general, listening to all the speakers, I just want to say thank you so much for coming out and really, making us aware of these opportunities and these programs. And, I started to hear a little bit about pharmacy tech just recently. I mean, I didn't really know much about it. It sounds like it's a growing program. It's not as big as some of the other programs that we may have in the district, but I definitely want to make sure that we do show it some love and show it some support, and talk about partnerships, right? I mean, you have the school district and you have the community college, us working, and then you working, Loma Linda working with them. And so it just it's such a beautiful streamline. And we're working with students in high school, but now we have, a teacher from middle school, in a couple, board meetings, back, we had, discussed a little bit about, hey, how can we get them started, from elementary? How can we get them exposed to some of these, different areas and fields and STEM and, technology and all these different things. So I really do hope that this pathway at Curtis Middle School is not going to be closing this medical pathway, because it's a really good opportunity. I don't know what other middle school, maybe there are other middle schools that have pathways, but even if we do medical pathways, even if we do or we don't, I think if the program is there and the program is thriving, why get rid of it? I've heard a lot of great things too about the job outlook, like you're mentioning. So again, supporting pathways that are going to directly provide at the end a good job, even if it's just
entry level, thank you, an entry level. You know, they may not stay there, and that's okay, but they need to be able to, you know, a lot of our kids often don't go to college because they want to go to work. You know, like, I just want to start making money. Some of them have to. And so what better way to be able to say, hey, here's this option, and you could do it while you're in high school. I love the fact that Valley is sending their instructors over to our campuses, and they are paying for it out of their pocket. So again, when I started to hear about little bits and glimpses and pieces of this program, I was like, oh my gosh, can you guys come and share more, you know, before the board? And so I'm so glad that you know, you've joined us. And so anyway, thank you. I really do hope that we do take a closer look into it and continue to expand that middle school pathway, you know, and eventually start getting to the elementaries as well. So thank you so much.
Can I share with you full circle how this works? Our students have gone to Amy's classroom for years, and they do presentations. Their students have actually done presentations in the community of the things they've learned in the program. So they have helped teach their parents and other people in the community the things they've learned. We're all one. It's one circle. We're just part of a big process here.
Thank you. Mr. Husky?
Y'all stealing my thunder, but first, thank you to everybody for your presentation tonight. One of the things that I was thinking about, it was just like, you know, when we talk about it takes a village, and I was to raise our children, and I was thinking about all the partners that we have that stepped up in the room tonight to talk about how they wanted to support our children in their success, our students for their futures. And I was also thinking about, you know, when we talk about pathways and pipelines, and how K-12 to college to career. And I didn't know as much about the pharmacy tech. I mean, I know what pharmacy techs are, and I know about pharmacists, but I didn't really understand as much, I think, as some of my colleagues did about what we were doing with that. And just the idea that our students from our middle schools can, you know, have a pathway to Loma Linda University that they may not, you know, there's probably parents out there watching right now that didn't know that we have a pathway for them to get there. And that midpoint at that pharmacy tech, they're going to actually have something that could potentially, talking about the work, that they'll be able to work and sustain themselves while they're continuing their career. So I really appreciate you bringing this to our attention, highlighting it for us. I appreciate that you're highlighting it for our community as well. And I'm, hopeful that we can at some point have a little more discussion about, how we can support this moving forward. And do that. And I look to see if I had anything on my calendar October 15th. So I'm putting that on there. And
well,
hopefully
you'll
send Ms. Cunningham more information on on that, so that we those of us that can attend, Ms. Cunningham would be the one to send that to for us. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That is all of the people providing public comment tonight. That takes us to section 4, public hearing, 4.1, local control and accountability plan. At this time, I'd like to open a public hearing for the local control and accountability plan. Are there any comments?
No comments.
Close the public hearing. I will now open a public hearing for our fiscal year 2024-2025 preliminary budget. Is that here? No, it's not. I'm going to do that later. So right now we're at section 5, closed session. Thank you. I'd like to call the meeting back to order. Action reported from closed session. 6.1, Educational Services. Be it resolved, the Board of Education approves settlement agreement JHG 23/24-04 in the amount of $13,000. Board of Education authorizes the purchasing director to sign all related documents. So moved.
Second.
Been moved by me, Danny Tillman, and second by Dr. Wyatt. Vote, please. Motion carried. 6.2, AC-23/24-05. Be resolved, the Board of Education approves settlement agreement AC 23/24-05 in the amount of $15,000. Board of Education authorizes the purchasing director to sign all related documents. So moved. Second. So moved by me and second by Dr. Wyatt. Vote, please. Motion passed. 6.3, certificated reassignment, HR certification 23/24-4. Be resolved, the Board of Education has determined the following certificated employee be given notice that she shall be released from assignment as a principal effective at the end of 2023-2024 school year and reassigned to an assignment consistent with her credential authorizations effective at the beginning of the 2024-2025 school year, and that the superintendent or his designee is hereby authorized to give written notice of this action pursuant to Education Code 44951. So moved. Second. Been moved by me and seconded by Dr. Wyatt. Vote, please. Motion carried. 6.4, expulsion of students. The Board of Education accepts and adopts the recommendation and findings of the hearing panel based on a review of the panel's finding of facts and recommendations and orders the expulsion of the following students with identification numbers as listed below in accordance with the board rules and regulations in compliance with Education Code Section 48900, 441918, 466376, 482115, 440296, and 539311. So moved.
Second.
Been moved by myself and second by Mrs. Shahusky. Vote, please. Motion carries. 6.5, recommendation for suspension or expulsion, excluding mandatory offenses, but remanded to youth court or other means of correction. The Board of Education accepts and adopts the recommendation and findings of facts of positive youth development and orders the suspension or expulsion of the following students with identification number as listed below in accordance with the board rules and regulations and in compliance with Education Code Section 48900, 465448. Moved by Mr. Husky and second by Mrs. Alexander. Vote, please. Motion carried. Six point six, recommendation of suspension but deleted from student assertive discipline due to completion of youth court or due process errors. The following students were recommended for suspension, but the suspension was deemed inappropriate based on the due process errors, insufficient evidence, and or the availability of other means of correction in compliance with Education Code Section 48900. Therefore, although they were recommended for suspension, the suspension was reversed or modified. 461180, 484609, 483-426, 465-933, and 436242.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Husky and second by Ms. Alexander. Vote, please. Motion carried. 6.7, other closed session action. Be it resolved, the Board of Education accepts the notice of recommendation for disciplinary action and statement of charges to dismiss the following certificated employee from his/her employment with the district, HR Cert 23-24-19-ER. So moved.
Second.
Moved by myself and second by Dr. Wyatt. Vote, please. Motion carried. Section 7, student board members. 7.1, reports by student board members. Ms. Crystal Scott.
Hello, everyone. My name is Crystal Scott, and I am the African and Native woman who is 17 years old, and I graduated from Cajon High School. As a student board member, student leadership advisory council rep, and soon to be sworn debutante, district advisory council rep, and parliamentarian, I have to say I'm very happy that I have the opportunity, and I'm very grateful that I'm here to be able to bless others with this position. And I'm so glad to be involved in uplifting over 50,000 students in this school district. But not only have I involved myself in my community, but in my school as well. Sadly, this is my last meeting, and I want to thank the Board of Education for allowing me to have this amazing opportunity to serve beside them and see what they do to make hope happen daily. I plan to attend RCC, study political science, and join their ASB group, their UMOJA program, and their BSU, and maybe start a program where we focus on promoting wellness centers for students and teachers. After that, I will transfer to the university of my choice and continue thriving. If you would like to support me in my college journey, I have a QR code for the GoFundMe, and I can email that to you if you would like. I also want to congratulate all of our seniors who graduated. Congratulations, class of 2024. I'm so proud of us for surviving our 12-year sentence. I want to say thank you to the Board of Education, our director, our executives, superintendent, our assistants, and our staff for making this so easy. And I don't think we could have done this without you guys. And you put in so much work to help every single student here in the SBCUSD. And I want to say it's an honor to have worked with you all. Also, if you know of any paid internships this summer, please let me know immediately. I would love to gain more knowledge and experience this summer. And don't forget to vote for me in 2043 for a state senator. Thank you, everyone, and have a blessed night.
Thank you, Mrs. Scott, and we're going to miss you. It has been wonderful having you here. You've done a great job and given us some great input, and we really do appreciate the work that you did as a student board member. I know you're going to go on and do great things. Congratulations. Section 8, Administrative Reports. 8.1, Local Control of Accountability Plan.
Thank you, Board. Good evening, President Tillman, Vice President Ceballos, Superintendent Arellano, the rest of our board, cabinet. Tonight, we are going to be presenting to you the LCAP plan. This is the final presentation for the public hearing, and then I will be turning it over to Mr. Comnick, who will then be discussing the presentation for the preliminary budget. So I'll go ahead and hand it over to Ms. Kimber Sargent today, and Dr. Will Greer is with her as well.
All right, good evening. Thank you so much for having me. Oh. We'll try that. Is that better? Okay. Thank you to President Tillman, Superintendent, Board, and Cabinet members. I am here today again for our public hearing for the Local Control and Accountability Plan. As you know, this is sort of the culmination presentation that has taken a journey beginning in October with our presentations to our parent advisory and community groups, gathering input to develop our plan for the 2024-2025 school year. I'm very honored to share here our time with Dr. Greer, who will be sharing some information about a particular program that will be in our LCAP. This is a new requirement, so he'll be sharing some information as we get into the presentation. Go ahead. As an overview of our funding that's found within the Local Control and Accountability Plan, normally this plan would contain our supplemental and concentration funds that are generated by our low-income English learner and foster youth students. Last year, we had a little bit more funding, so we are decreasing our funding by $1.6 million, but in our supplemental and concentration funding, you'll see that we are just over $201 million. The percentage that we need to increase or improve services, these are services beyond what we provide for all of our students, is 42.597. That percentage is increasing along with the percentage of our unduplicated students. And that is the percentage of our low-income English learner and foster youth. The actions that are tied to our supplemental and concentration funds, you'll see in the presentation today, have that gold banner along the bottom to let you know that those actions will total up to $201 million. There are other budgets that are included in our LCAP for 24-25. So these are not things that took away from other programs, but yet are added into our plan to give us a more comprehensive look at the supports that we provide for our students beyond those that are in the supplemental and concentration budget. In total for the 24-25 LCAP, you'll see an amount of funding that exceeds $223 million. There are a few new requirements, so as I get to those, I'll make sure to pause to share that new requirement and where that funding source comes from. As I stated, this is taking place beginning in October with our parent advisory groups, over 23 meetings. We offer these meetings as a hybrid option with English and Spanish interpretation. This included school board presentations with our annual update, which took place in January, our union partner collaboration, district staff presentations, presentations to our parents and guardians, as well as our students with our student leadership, with Crystal Scott actually being one of our SLAC board members that serves on our DAC, as well as community members with our community meeting. We held 2 this year. At each of those meetings, we offer an opportunity for questions and answers, any clarifications that they might have, as well as time for them to provide us input. With the direction of our superintendent, we incorporated Thought Exchange as one of our platforms to gather input from our educational partners. We had more than 7,000 participants in our Thought Exchanges over these 23 meetings. Those participants provided over 7,000 thoughts. It's an average of 1 per participant. And then once you provide the thought, you're able actually to rate what others have provided as a thought as well. It provides an open forum for the input. If you are participating in the thought exchange, you can see what everybody else is putting in real time, and you're able to rate those thoughts on a scale of 1 star to 5 stars. And then it will show you the top themes that will come from your input. So you'll see that here in the graphic with the Wordle. These were the most common items that were provided as input with related to our LCAP, with a strong emphasis on our smaller class sizes, our instructional support and intervention, and having those supports located at the school sites. The goals that are associated with that supplemental and concentration funding with that gold banner are our 3 goals that we have. The goal number 1 has been incorporated with our Shines 2030 initiative of our superintendent. Goal number 1 is our high expectations for academics and innovation with equity and inclusion lens as a foundation to be college and career ready. Goal number 2, safe, secure, and attractive learning environments and facilities, promoting nutrition, wellness, and mental health. And goal number 3, involvement of students, families, community, staff, and parents. For each of those goals, there are actions that are assigned to them to help us meet our objectives. For goal number 1, you'll see that there's an investment of over $160 million. For goal number 2, you'll see there's an investment of over $36 million. And goal number 3, an investment of nearly $5 million. This again is just one of our budgets. I know Mr. Komnick and his team will be sharing our entire school budget, our LCAP supplemental and concentration. This is just one of our budgets and priorities that our board has had. So you'll see here a breakdown of our actions. These again are the gold banner actions that are our contributing actions for low-income English learner and foster youth. You'll see on the table on the slides in the first column the name. There is a shortened name within the template. The template was provided to you in a binder. I know you love binders. This one is tabbed for you. I did give you a table of contents to help you just navigate through it. And some of our new funding sources, I provided a special tab. So as we get to those points, if you want to flip to those, I'll give you a little reminder. But the details for each of the actions are also found within this plan. So on this slide, you'll see, for example, we had our DLAC members are here tonight to give you an update and share some of the things that they would like to see. Many of those events and many of those activities are funded with our supplemental and concentration funds. So those things that they're looking for under the direction of Mrs. Applegate, we'll be utilizing our LCAP funds to support. The second column provides you the scope of where the action takes place. They are either LEA-wide, which means it's available throughout the district, school-wide, which means there are particular school sites that this action is targeting, or limited. And you'll see that in that last action on this slide for English learners. Limited means that it's for one of the student groups that are an unduplicated population. So this is only for our English learners. So that is what it means by limited. It's not in any way to exclude anybody. It's just the term within our LCAP. In the last column, you'll see the data that we use to identify our needs. So for our first one, advanced learner programs, it was our data for English learners, low income, and foster youth. And you'll see the amount that's allocated for that action. Goal number, go to the next page. There we go. On the next page, one of the changes that you'll see in the 24-25 plan is middle school support class teachers. This is based on input from our educational partners. Over the last 2 years, we have begun the implementation of the multi-tiered system of supports, MTSS. We began that with providing our school sites somebody to oversee that process and oversee our intervention practices. We provided intervention staffing to build a learning center or learning lab at our elementary level. And we are now in this year extending that up to the middle school level. to provide them with teachers to specifically target the needs of the school and provide additional support classes for our students. So this is staffing that will be at our school. The setup is the same with the action title, scope, and then our unduplicated students. The remaining actions here, these actions are continuing from the previous school year. Anytime there's a change, I'll make sure to point those pieces out. You will see an increase in the transportation cost from last year of $6 million. And that is the ending of our ESSER funding and picking this up here in our LCAP to support our students. On the next slide, you'll see there is a new action on the last row there, multi-tiered system of supports teacher on special assignment. That's a whole mouthful. We had input from our educational partners. They wanted to see specifically in the plan where we had that staffing at the school site to oversee intervention and ensuring that that was a district-wide initiative. So that was pulled out as a separate action. In the LCAP for 23-24, it was in action 19, and now it is a set alone on its own, just to be clearer to our community. On the next slide, you'll see these actions are also continuing. We have a lot of strong support for our educational field trips. This comes not only from our community, but also from our school sites and our teachers. At the bottom, you'll see as we expand our program offerings at our school sites under our STEAM program, we had 10 pilot schools in 23-24. We are extending that now out to more schools, so each year adding little by little in a way that we're able to sustain and build practices that we can replicate throughout the district. So we started with 10 in 23-24, and we'll continue to add on to that next year. That's under the direction of Dr. Clyde. And so you'll see the investment there also increasing from last year to make sure that we are thinking of all of the pieces, the working pieces that it takes to integrate STEAM within the curriculum, as well as providing the materials that the students might need. So that will round out goal 1. In goal 2, you'll see again, these are gold banner actions for English learner, low income, and foster youth. Goal 2 centers a lot of our support from our student wellness and support services, our Swiss department. Last year in our LCAP, we split the actions up to provide clarity to the community and make it clear how we're supporting our wellness programs. And you'll see here that that is continuing. So all of the actions that we have here were actions in last year's plan that are continuing into 24-25. On the next slide, you'll see right up at the top, we had a celebration of our registered nurses, and I agree with Mr. Tillman. They literally save lives. Even personally for myself, they saved my life, and I was having an issue, and she said, I think you should go to the emergency room, and it was something very serious. So I very much appreciate and connect with your comment that you made. You'll see here a continuation of our supports from Swiss, as well as programs offering crossing guards. We've increased our crossing guards, in particular with the implementation of late start. With our ending times being very similar, there's an increased level of traffic. We also, under the direction of Mr. Vitier, have a process now for our community to ask for a traffic study if they feel like there's a very busy community or intersection near the school. They're able to fill out a Google form on the website so that we can go out and take a look, but I know that's something he regularly monitors as well. And then at the bottom, you'll see a new action for student wellness and support services materials. Many of the areas under the Swiss department overlap, so there may be materials that are both for wellness and for mental health, both for mental health and counseling services. And before, each action had materials in it, so it was separated out as its own action since many of the items are interrelated. Again, just to provide clarity for our community and how we're supporting our students. This is one budget. Again, as a reminder, in our community meeting, we had questions around our community schools initiatives and whether we were going to apply for the grants. That would be additional funding that would further support our work towards providing mental health and wellness services for our students. And then on goal 2, actions continued. You'll see here, these are all actions that are continuing with our Student Leadership Advisory Council on this action. This Student Leadership Advisory is not only where we get our board members, but also our student representation on our District Advisory Council. We are expanding that. I know Dr. Rodriguez has shared, we had high school only, and then we invited in middle school, and we'll be looking to bring in our upper elementary as well. So that's an expanding program just to enhance the voice of our students and ensure that we are sharing with them information. I share the budget with them just as I share it with the community. We ask for their input just as we ask for it in our parent advisories as well. That will take us to goal number 3. This is still under that golden banner of English learner, low income, and foster youth. And this is our 3 actions. They are the same actions that we had last year. We are continuing to implement those actions. We have a lot of educational partner input and support, especially of the work of our family engagement services, our family engagement department, with our parent volunteer workers, the workshops that they provide, and the support that they provide at our meetings, and helping our community to connect with resources and remove barriers so that they're able to not only participate in the education of their children, but now also we're bringing them onto the school sites as parent volunteer workers. We are continuing to increase our interpretation and translation services. As you heard tonight, we had our interpreters here. We are continuing to increase that, making sure that we have adequate funding to replace equipment of our headphones and the tools that they need to be successful. And then lastly, for our targeted enrollment, ensuring that we are offering our signature programs, our bilingual programs, and making sure parents have access to support to use our Aries online portal. And that will round out our first 3 goals. Those 3 goals in total add up to the excess of the $201 million, and that will transition us from what was traditionally in our LCAP. That would have been the end of our presentation, but there are some new funding sources, so I'm going to go into those. Again, those new funding sources did not take away from any of our programs, but will complement those programs and allow us to expand some of those services. So I'm not sure if you want me to pause, Mr. Tillman, or you want me to keep going.
Keep going.
Okay. So we'll take you into the next section in your binder. This is tabbed with a green tab. This is a new program that will begin in the 24-25 school year called Equity Multiplier. This program originally started as an Assembly Bill 2774 from Assemblywoman Weber. And that bill went all the way to the governor's desk and was vetoed with a promise to come back with a way to support our lowest achieving students. That came out in this budget cycle as Equity Multiplier. The schools were identified by the California Department of Education based on demographics. So this was not an identification based on their California dashboard data. This was an identification based on the students that attend the schools. There were 2 areas that a school had to meet in order to be eligible. So of all of our schools, the schools that you see here, their school logo, in addition to ALC and home and hospital, these were the schools that met the 2 pieces of criteria. The first one is something called a non-stability rate. This is also known as mobility or transiency. It's the movement of our children. They take a cumulative enrollment of the school. So if a student is enrolled, even if it's just for 1 day, that will count in that cumulative enrollment, and they will count that through the entire school year. So the more movement there is in the school, the higher their non-stability rate is. You had to have a non-stability rate in excess of 25%. So these schools all have a non-stability rate that exceeds 25%. So that was the first piece. The second piece is the school had to have a socioeconomically disadvantaged rate, or a free and reduced priced meal is also a term for it, or low income could be a term for it, a rate greater than 70%. Now, the majority of our schools meet that 70%, but they did not meet the other piece, which was a non-stability. So these schools met both pieces. This is a totally separate funding source. That is $13.3 million. These are school site allocations. So the school sites that you see listed here, the funding was based on the number of students that were enrolled at CBEDS last year. So some of our schools have a very high non-stability rate by the design of their program. A school like Sierra and San Andreas, they have every 6 weeks where they will have new students joining them. That causes them to have a very high non-stability rate. Their non-stability rate at San Andreas was over 62%, and you only had to be at 25%. So just by the simple design of the program, that helped them in becoming eligible. They will select schools each year under this program as it is designed right now. The funding is able to be spent over a 3-year period. So there is a scenario where the school that schools you see listed here could be identified again in January of 2025 and receive another allocation. So they have 3 years to spend this $13.3 million. Next year, they will identify schools. We will have another allocation, and that will have 3 years to spend down. Right now, this is an ongoing funding source, but the funding is considered one time, and you have 3 years to spend it. So hopefully you're with me here. The schools that you see here, we met with to do a formal notification to make sure they understood how they were identified. The requirements under the program, they have to address all of the red areas on the California dashboard. So they were identified based on demographics, but they have to address their performance on the dashboard. So we made sure that they understood what the requirements were. We met with them a second time to do a pre-planning session. They had to complete their school plan for student achievement and write that plan out. And everything under this program, Equity Multiplier, is now on top of that in addition. It does have a supplement, not supplant. So we do need to make sure that these are new and additional, or we have what's in our SPSA and it's more than that now. We have what's in our LCAP and it's on top of that. It's another layer of support for these schools. So we met with them so that they would understand that they're adding a layer on. We looked at their data to ensure that they understood what areas they needed to address. They took that back to their school community to draft a plan. They drafted that plan and it went through School Site Council as our parent representative community. And they also would, if they had English learners, for example, they would present it to their ELAC, or if they had African American students that they had to address, they would address it to their APAC if they had an APAC. Some of our schools did a coffee with the principal or just a general community meeting to make sure that their school community was aware of it. And each of the schools had a thought exchange that was set up. So we also gathered input through thought exchange for the Equity Multiplier program. So under that green tab, you're going to see one goal for every single school. So San Andreas will have its own goal. It's goal number 4. And the actions underneath San Andreas is that plan that the school developed with their school community and input from their educational partners that are all supplemental programs for them. Their plan is to spend that money over the 3-year period that they have. Anything in the first year that they don't spend will carry over to year 2 and would carry over then to year 3. So each school has its own goal number and its own action plan. ALC and Home and Hospital, they don't have a logo. ALC, the principal of Virtual Academy, also oversees our ALC program. So she led that process with ALC. Home and Hospital, we did in collaboration with our special education department to ensure that we were getting input from them. I also presented at the Community Advisory Council, the CAC, to ensure that I got input from those parents as well and how we can better support our home and hospital students. What services can we add to those schools? On the next slide, you'll see here the themes of the actions. What we were looking for are things that would help to address the areas that are red on their California dashboard and areas that would help to build sustainable practices. So you'll see for most of our schools, they built up their intervention program and their professional development program. If they have that action in their equity multiplier plan, you'll see the school listed. So the first two have staffing that they are going to use from their normal allocation of teachers. They're going to use them to either provide support classes or they're going to use them to provide coaching. As an example, at San Andreas, they have teachers who are highly skilled in areas that will teach for part of the school day and coach for part of the school day. So the schools that have the additional teachers or the academic coaches are our high schools or secondary because they had more funding. Their allocation was higher than what the elementary schools were. But you'll see intervention is a common theme for many of our equity multiplier schools, as well as professional development, tutoring and intervention, as well as providing some materials for these increased services that they'll be providing to the students at their school. Mr. Tillman, that is the second type of funding that's in the LCAP. If you want me to keep going, I can keep going on to the next one. Okay. So that'll take us to the next new requirement in our LCAP, which is differentiated assistance. Differentiated assistance is not a new program. The new requirement is to incorporate it within your LCAP and to gather educational partner input to develop an action plan to address the identification. The identification comes from an analysis of the California dashboard of our student groups. And these are our student group performance at the district level. In the past, we were in differentiated assistance, which is under the system of supports from the California Department of Education. We were identified for differentiated assistance for African American students and students with disabilities, because over a 2-year period, their data was all in red or orange in at least one of the California dashboard indicators. We improved with our students with disabilities and they came out of differentiated assistance. Our action plan that we had in place led to improved outcomes for our students with disabilities. For this year, we were for 24-25, we're right in the middle of 2 years, so it's hard. In 24-25, we were identified for differentiated assistance for African American students, which means for 2 years on the California dashboard, they were either red or orange in these 3 indicators. So it's English language arts, math, and suspension. And these are district-wide, not individual school sites, district-wide. So the systems that we need to build would be to support district-wide initiatives. And I know our superintendent has shared this with our site leaders as a priority for us to address our African American students. We didn't need the identification from the state for our board to know and our superintendent to know that this is a priority. These are things that we already had in action and we are already making strides towards. What this does do is help with the community feedback that we'd like to see a plan. We want to see something written out that shows what we're doing and the funding that we have associated with it. So I have my colleague here, Dr. Greer, who's going to share some of that work. As much of that work is started with his department and led under Mrs. Applegate with the support of the other directors in elementary and secondary, Really all of us pull together. He says, we need you, and we're there for him. So I'm going to turn it over to him to share about some of the actions that you'll see on the next page.
Thank you, Kimber. And thank you so much, Board President Tillman, Vice President Ceballos, Mr. Ariano, our superintendent, all of our board members, our cabinet. I'm just really, really grateful, glad to be here, and just really excited about the support that we have. In fact, since we have been back with Mrs. Applegate, our Assistant Sup of Ed Services, just the capacity for the ETSA department and the work that we've been able to engage in this year and looking forward to next year, it's just been unprecedented. And so I'm here truly with a full heart because I'm really, really grateful. So I really wanted to start with that. As you all know, the ETSA department was established from the TIP policy, the Targeted Instructional Improvement Plan, passed many years ago now, 2007, Board Policy 6012.1. And that policy outlines a lot of tasks, objectives, and goals for us, right? And so it's a Herculean policy that asks us to really be intentional about and to work across our district on improving African-American student outcomes in math, in reading, in high school A through G, in access to advanced courses. It lifts up other elements, other pieces and goals like making sure that more African-American kids have access to preschool, really reducing the number of African-American students who are disproportionately referred to special education, as well as the number of African-American kids who are suspended and expelled, right? So it's a lot of things. And then we have, in addition to that, we have a Sankofa Magnet program that we brought back. We have launched some work this year around racial slurs to help our sites, our principals and counselors and folks at the schools who are wrestling and grappling with this issue. And we have a Pacific Islander piece of our work as well. And so some objectives around that important work too. And so making sure that we're meeting the needs of all of our kids who need support. So I'm just very proud to be the director of ETSA and to have this support. I want to lift up some of the items that are here under differentiated assistance because all of those objectives and goals that I just mentioned that are from the TIP policy or that are otherwise a part of our work, thanks to Mrs. Applegate, our superintendent, cabinet, my good colleague, Ms. Sargent, we're going to really be able to get after it in ways that are unprecedented and in ways that we just, I'm going to leave it there. We're going to be able to get after it. I'm excited about that. So this first piece here, if you are looking at the differentiated assistance actions in Goal 21, intervention staffing, this is critical. This is a crucial piece. And so because of this support, we are going to be able to deploy, train 35 resident guest teachers. We call them equity guest teachers. Most of them will be at the elementary working with our African-American kids who are in upper grades, but who on the CASP, our state test, who have consistently scored at a level 1 or a level 2. And so those would be our students who are either not meeting grade level standards in reading or nearly meeting them, right? And as you know, last year in 2023, in reading, almost 80% of our African-American students were a 1 or a 2. Right. And so they're going to be doing some really important work at some of our elementary schools that have the highest populations, the highest concentrations of African-American kids who are struggling. They will be working with them every day in small groups specifically around reading comprehension and working to help them improve and build those crucial skills. We'll have another set of equity guest teachers who will be working at the middle school, specifically on math. And so they'll be pushing